hang on. So we met at the expo, and I was playing in the poker tournament, and he was at the bar, and we started chopping it up, and he ordered a margarita. So I was like, let me get that, and I offered to pay for the margarita and called the tequila that she used and everything. And then he was on his way out, and he came over and he said, I'm taking off, but I'm going to buy you a drink. And we had in our conversation, we agreed like, hey, let's work together, do some things. And so he's leaving, offers to buy me a drink. And I see this bourbon on the back bar that I was interested in trying, but had never tried before. And so I was like, yeah, give me that. And so the bartender comes over and she's putting the bottle back, and she's like, yeah, she says something about for dollars. And I was like, wait, excuse me, what did you say? And she said, yeah, $70 shot. And I was like, whoa. And I told Jon-o this like the next day or a couple days later when I saw him. I was like, bro, the fact that I walked up to you and I said I'm sorry, and you were like, don't worry about it, just send me 30. Like, he didn't come up to me and say, hey, fucker, that shot was $70. He didn't say anything. He was going to leave without saying a goddamn word. It wasn't until I approached him that he like, good dude. So now we're doing this. We're doing a show together, and it's called Unhinged. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Unhinged. We are now 33% bigger than we were last week, and we have Jon-o in the building. Actually, let me go ahead and get these. So we have it's a 4-host show. We have not yet had the pleasure of our other co-host at Chev90 or Chev GPT, as he's about to be known in the industry. But I'm bigz. You might know me from the Undroppables and this show when it was a solo act. Colt Snowdy of the Undroppables is here, and Johnny Main, Jon-o, co-host of the Fantasy Football Show. We're rolling with Chev, and this is Unhinged, baby. We're just gonna talk about shit. We're gonna like talk about what's on our mind. We're gonna talk about like the news of the day. This is kind of an offshoot of the show I had on Player Profiler News, which was straight up NFL news. Things changed a little bit, and it started becoming a little bit less news oriented and more clickbait oriented, and I wasn't comfortable with that. Also, dealing with a platform like that, we had to watch our mouths, things like that. I feel like looser. I feel more comfortable. I can say fuck as much as I want and not worry about the corporate overlords or whatever, because Chalk doesn't give a fuck either. And so what we're going to be doing is every week we're going to be bringing you some like hot takes, some like just stupidity from around the internet. We're going to talk about pop culture stuff. If there's some new kicks that are coming out, like Travis Scott drops a new like Jordan collab or something, like whatever, movies, TV shows, even alcohol. If we want to go there, we talked about bourbon earlier. So that's basically the gist of the show. We're glad that you're here. We're glad that you're watching, and we got some stuff to talk about today.
We do.
We're gonna lead off with the Micah Parsons trade, because that's pretty much the biggest thing that's going on right now. So with the Micah Parsons trade, we could make some hot takes, but instead we're gonna make some bold predictions that probably won't happen. All right. So, as you know, Jerry Jones is a fucking moron, and he traded Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers, and it was big news. I mean, there has been big news all offseason. Contract signings, re-ups. Somebody became the highest paid player. 2 weeks later, somebody else became the highest paid player. So I found this little tidbit that I want to share with everybody. and we'll go ahead and do it this way. Over the last 4 years, the Cowboys are the league's best defense with Micah Parsons on the field by EPA per play. Across a 1,039 play sample, they're the league's second worst defense over that same stretch by EPA per play when Parsons isn't on the field. Jerry, the fuck is wrong with you? You just made your defense permanently the second worst defense in the NFL, and you made the Green Bay Packers the best defense in the NFL simply by trading one player away. What'd you get back? Kenny Clark and two futures? Well, maybe one of those could be the next Micah Parsons. Yeah. Well, have you seen some of the first round draft picks like Cleveland Farrell that didn't fucking work out? You idiot. What are you guys' thoughts?
It obviously, like, I'm a big Steeler fan. So the first thing I think is, oh, well, what in the world would have happened if with TJ Watt? Like, what would have been the return on him? I don't think it obviously would have been as much as Micah. And then the other thing, like, I just immediately go to, like, I'm just wired like this. Like, I just go look at stats from last year, like, to see, like, all right, like, well, what's the difference? And like one of the things that jumps out is Green Bay is last year wasn't even a team that blitzed a whole lot last year. So it'll be interesting to see like what they do with him in that respect. I think obviously you give up that kind of haul, that's got to happen. And then the other thing too for me was they're very close in QB pressures, but just overall, like to your point, like I think the biggest takeaway for me to kind of boil it down is the Green Bay Packers are absolutely going to be a better defense with Micah Parsons. And the Cowboys were a defense that gave up a ton of yards last year for sure. And they were ranked very closely, like in a lot of like ancillary stats, like QB pressures on third down, 13th and 15th respectively. The Cowboys were 13th and the Packers were 15th. And Dallas was tied for first in the NFL in sacks on third down, and Green Bay was a top 10. So I think you're going to see those numbers flip, obviously, with losing a guy like Parsons. But, man, like that was not what I was expecting to see when I got home yesterday from work. And God love every Dallas Cowboy fan because all I could do was just laugh.
Well, before we get to Colt, let me just say, Jon-o, I'm really disappointed. When we talked about what this show was going to be, I thought I made the point that it was going to be light on analysis and more on gut instinct. And you just brought some analysis. You did your homework. And so at the same time, fucking good job. But also, God damn it.
You know what, man? I'm going to take everything down and I'm just going to let it fly, man. I'm going to let it fly. That's what you want. That's what you got, damn it. That's what you got. That's what you got.
We're feeling
all right. Let's do it.
I mean, I brought data too, so I'm just giving you shit.
Okay.
Also, if you play fantasy football and if you're an undroppable subscriber, I know you do. And there is defense special teams in your league, and there was an automatic pickup for Green Bay yesterday, and you didn't make that happen. And there was a waiver claim period last night, and you didn't make that happen. Step the fuck up. You need this defense in your like fantasy. Come on. All right, Colt, what you got?
I mean, I just don't think it was enough. They got Frank Clark, who is a completely different player, plays a different position than Parsons does.
He's not even named that.
Right.
Not even named
Kenny Clark.
Kenny Clark, sorry. I said Frank. Kenny Clark, yeah, he's more of a run stopper, and that's what Jerry Jones wanted to focus on was stopping the run. And, I mean, you trade a premier pass rusher, I don't know, for two futures and Clark, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, it reminds me of how shocked I was, and, you know, not to reveal too much about myself, but woke up one morning and immediately sat down on the toilet and opened up my phone, and we had traded Khalil Mack to the Chicago Bears. And this is an even more important trade than that. The compensation that the Bears gave up for getting Khalil Mack was like two firsts and I think a second, but they also got back a fifth and a seventh. Roughly the Kenny. This is basically kind of a parallel deal. The only problem is as good as Khalil Mack was, and I'll point out real quick here. He's like the only defender to all pro at two different positions in the same season. That impact did not help the Bears as much as Micah Parsons is going to help the Green Bay Packers.
Agreed.
We got Jamie Pirog in the chat. What up, peeps? What up, Jamie? Good to see you. I should be wearing my Cleveland Browns hat. Oh, you didn't? Let me show you, Jamie. I grabbed this on Day. on my way out at the airport, and I don't think you've seen it on camera yet. Boom. Yeah. I did.
Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
no. All right. So, Micah Parsons thing out of the way. I want to talk about some other things, and we have. I did make a show sheet for this one somehow. So yeah. So let's go with surprise cuts, trades, signings that have happened so far. Are there anything that has happened in the last week? 53-man rosters were decided. Any guys that made a team that surprised you? Any cuts that were made that surprised you? Does the Kenny Pickett trade surprise you at all? The fact that the Raiders signed Amari Cooper, I know that's all Raiders centric, but I mean they were news items. Anything out there that made you go, what the fuck? Well,
I think the Brian Robinson trade, like the Amari, I think that it wasn't shocking because like we could see the writing on the wall for it for sure. But I think obviously one of the things it does is it brings a lot of question marks to the 49ers backfield and Christian McCaffrey specifically. So that's one of the things that, kind of stands out for me. Obviously the Amari Cooper news as well. I think I'm kind of taking a reoccurring theme here. When players tell you they are retired, I'm going to say this. Don't fucking believe them. Yes, I'm on the show now because I dropped the F-bomb, baby. Let's go. Don't fucking believe them, man. Because
now we're rolling.
Yeah. I don't believe it. But Amari Cooper, I think, obviously, like he had some of his best work was there with the Raiders. But I think overall, then the trickle down effect with that was the potential Jacoby Meyer asking for a trade. So like those were the things that really stuck out to me this week as far as transactions that happened. So.
Colt?
It was kind of shocking to see that Clyde Edwards-Helaire, former first-round pick, is back on Kansas City on their practice squad. I mean,
I didn't hear that.
That's not of much relevance, but how the mighty have fallen.
Mm.
New Orleans cut him. New Orleans cut Cam Akers. I mean, those aren't really big names or anything. Malachi Corley, do you guys think he lands anywhere? He didn't really have a fair shot with the Jets last year.
No, but he was also buried. Like, I mean,
yeah.
And they weren't very good. So I really liked Malachi Corley coming out of school, and he had a pretty high unscore, if I'm not mistaken. The metrics really liked him. He didn't get much run with the Jets. It is surprising that they moved on from him. Real quickly, let's take a pause here because I heard Colt's dog barking in the background shortly after my dog was barking in the background, and they both sound big. How big's your dog?
It's a boxer.
Okay, so he's about 55, 60 pounds?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's somebody who drove by on the street and he's barking at it.
No, we have a scooter that, as a neighbor drives a scooter that's really loud, and he was pulling into the driveway and everything, and that's when my dog absolutely lost his shit. He's 100 pounds. So his bark is pretty big. Anyway, okay. So one of the most disappointing cuts to me, well, disappointing on one hand, but promising on another, the Panthers cutting Hunter Renfrow. I was very, very into the Hunter Renfrow story, obviously, and he looked great in camp. We knew about his route running ability from 3 years ago. He dealt with an autoimmune disorder that absolutely drained him of any physical ability and energy, and he looked to be back and ready to go in camp. The Carolina Panthers then traded Adam Thielen to the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm thinking, okay, well, here's a path forward for Hunter Renfrow. Third and Renfrow was his nickname for a reason. And now, all of us cokeheads stand up because Jalen Coker is going to be the full-time slot guy in Carolina. So I've been pressing his button in my live drafts the last few days. Jamie, talking about dogs barking, and Jamie says, thought that was my ex-wife.
Love it.
All right. So what does Thielen do to help the Vikings. I've been drafting the shit out of Ty Felton, thinking he was going to be the kind of the replacement for Jordan Addison during his suspension. But it looks like Thielen might get some run. And then in Carolina, like losing those two guys, they are really like all in going forward with T-Mac, Cokehead, and Xavier Leggett.
Yeah, no, I think for me, I've just been kind of actually I think one of the ties for me, like as far as fantasy goes, is if you're drafting Rashee Rice, Adam Thielen is like a nice compliment to get you by over the first couple of weeks. If you decide to go down that route, I think Jalen Coker is a guy that late money as far as wide receivers. It seems like every draft I'm in or have been in over the last week and a half or so, people are just absolutely smashing wide receiver, which is no shock. But that's a guy, you can get later on around 11, 12, et cetera, that could and should be able to give you some value. I'm pretty sure I've seen Canales say that he's going to be lining up exclusively in the slot is what I think I've seen. And then I think we all know like about Bryce Young, just what he did like over the last handful of weeks. I know a lot of that came in week 18, but there was definitely some stretches, and I don't have any stats with me, Big. So, but I'm pretty sure over the last handful of weeks there, one of the things that really stuck out to me when I'm like looking at quarterbacks and quarterback stats is adjusted completion percentage. And he consistently was kind of landing inside of the top 12 over the last 4 or 5 weeks of the regular season last year. So I think there's definitely a pathway, and like you're right, like they're going all in on youth. You also don't forget about Jatavion Sanders as well, another pass catcher for them. The Carolina Panthers are going all in on the youth movement here.
Well, I think if we've learned anything about short quarterbacks, smash their tight ends. So I think Jatavion Sanders has an outsized year from what people are expecting right now.
Absolutely.
All right. The other one is that you brought up is the Brian Robinson trade, and I just wanted to like this is something that I wanted to get off my chest, and this will count as my bold prediction that probably won't happen. Brian Robinson, slightly inefficient. We know what Austin Eckler brings to the table, but he's old. Chris Rodriguez has been suspiciously efficient, running between the tackles and handling the carries. But the steam over the last couple of weeks has been Bill Krosky-Merritt, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. His ADP rose up from basically undrafted to I saw him go as early as the 6th round in a draft. His ADP is sitting right around RB27. Right now, he's a running back 3. You guys need to calm down with Bill Krosky-Merritt. He was a 7th round draft pick. Brian Robinson moving on, I think, means more for Chris Rodriguez than it does for Bill Krosky-Merritt. But the Twitter sphere could not shut the fuck up about Bill Krosky-Merritt all week. I have one share. I got him in the 10th round somewhere. That's it. He's not going to do much. So my bold prediction for that is that both Brian Robinson and Chris Rodriguez are going to outscore Bill Krosky-Merritt in 2025.
I can rock with that because I do think Chris Rodriguez is definitely undervalued and overlooked. They liked him a lot last year. Like if you were paying attention, like I'm not a big dynasty guy, I have a couple of teams, but just paying attention to what the Commanders were saying, like they felt good about him last year. And Austin Eckler, not only is he old, but obviously concussions have been a thing for him, and I think. The other aspect of that as well is he's also okay like around the goal line. I know that's kind of a double negative, me saying he's old and concussions, but he's also good around the goal line, which he is. And Krosky-Merritt, like operating inside the 20s. Nick and I were doing our show last Monday when they were playing the Bengals, and we were talking about him. And he ripped off that run, and I said, bro, I said it right then. I said, I guarantee you, like, he's getting ready to start going 6th, 7th, 8th round is what you're getting ready to start see. And it just goes in waves, man. Like the moment, like, people, the moment that like consumers start to hear a name and see a name, it starts to go as a sleeper, quote unquote. And that's just what it is, right? It's like we're off of Mecca Ibuka, we're on to him, and God only knows. I think Ollie Gordon is another name that people have gotten really familiar with as well, and his draft stock just kind of rose, and we've forgotten about guys like Dylan Sampson, we've forgotten about guys like that right there in that space. So this is just a long-winded way of me saying I'll rock with you.
Okay, Colt, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the whole JCM thing, we talked about it a little bit last week. That happened really fast. That escalated real fucking quick. For them to just send Brian Robinson away, I mean, wow. I actually have him in a couple of best balls and two dynasties, and I sent him away for 27 first last week.
Wow.
Somebody paid a first.
Wow.
So, I mean, for just a random second, I'm not really feeling that because I think he can gain some steam and he might be pretty good. I mean, his college profile has a lot of holes in it, and it was a very odd profile, but with the offense and Jaden Daniels and scoring positions in the red zone, there's room to grow. So, but hey, that first could be a top 5, top 6 draft pick 2 years from now based on the roster as it is. So right. I'm going to cash that in. That was found money. 4th round draft pick.
Easy I do want to remind everybody about preseason noise. And there was a running back for the Raiders, George Atkinson III. He was a legacy pick. His dad was a defensive back for the Raiders, George Atkinson. He was an absolute baller. He had a career that spanned 3 seasons on 53-man rosters and 3 more on practice squads. He had, I want to say it was like 250 or 300 yards rushing in the preseason, his UDFA year. He finished his career with 7 rushing attempts, 34 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, and 271 return yards. So, preseason steam can mean absolutely nothing.
Sometimes it's tough to parse.
Yeah, I thought George Atkinson was going to make the team and get some run. That didn't happen. Even guys drafted higher than Bill, Blake Corum, he's a nothing burger. Audric Estime just picked up by the Eagles today after being cut by the Broncos. We go through this every single year, and sometimes you just need to stop, take a step back, and go, "Hey, let's not do this again."
Yeah.
All right. Jamie said he drafted Jalen Naylor in a couple, but only when I also took Boutte and DJ Moore for the team name Naylor Boutte. Well played.
Love it. Kudos.
I picked up Mr. Bill for $11 off waivers and sold him for a 2026 second rounder. That's fantastic. If you first, I feel like I got ripped off. I had a trade offer yesterday. Somebody offered me a 26 second for George Pickens immediately after the Micah Parsons signing, and I declined it. And then later on in my inbox they bumped it to a first. I don't think that I want that. I'd rather have Pickens, but but that's just kind of like where we're at right now. All right, let's talk about some other shit. Some media takes blitz. I mean, hot takes blitz. I'm dumb. Yes, it's where it all begins. Resurrection of events. All right. Have you guys seen anything on the internet that you're just like, what's wrong with you in the last week? You guys. Let me. You guys think while we talk about this? Let me start with this one. All right. So this motherfucker, Ashton Genty, Sleeper NFL hosts. Ashton Genty averaged 3.1 yards per carry on 12 carries. Basically, also there, also. I'd rather get Corey Krosky Merritt or Braylon Allen on late round than take Ashton.
Let's see. I'd rather get Jacory, JCM, or Braylon Allen already. No.
Taking Genty? Are you kidding me?
No way. No way.
Not a prayer.
No, put down the pipe, cuz. Put down the pipe.
Right?
Put down the pipe.
It was all I could do not to like create a league on Sleeper just to invite this dude. Because I mean, I'm not afraid to okay, this kind of gets into fantasy receipts territory, right? Fantasy receipts is out here. They're scrolling Twitter. They're scouring. And if you put some out there, and it's wrong. One thing fantasy receipts should do is have a section that is all hits. But obviously your misses, they're going to get showcased. And I have no problem with it. I'm not afraid of accountability.
Yeah.
I've made some terrible calls last year. I told everybody last year Zamir White was going to go off. That didn't happen, and I'll own it. But so if somebody were to take something of mine and put my name to it, I wouldn't have a problem with it. So I don't have a problem with not hiding what other people have to say. And Asili, at Asili 1961, I want you to be in all of my leagues because I want to have Genty and you sit on Braylon Allen and JCM. Please, just whatever money leagues I'm in, just donate, or just Venmo me. Just whatever the dues are for that league, just Venmo me, and you don't even have to play.
Donations. I thought it was the trash can.
Right? This is on this is public, you guys. This is you said this. Not only did you type it, not only did you think to type it, but then you went ahead with typing it, and then you hit send.
Oh man,
what are we doing here? Right? This is just the most baffling thing. I created a Fantasy Receipts Plus account to highlight people's hits, but I gave up on it. Way to go, Jamie. Are you Fantasy Receipts? Did we just uncover the truth?
Maybe.
Jamie Pierre on Fantasy Receipts?
Man.
And I don't know what happened to my audio.
You're good. You're good now. I can hear you now, brother. Yeah.
All right. So, we don't really have to go over that much more. All right. This one, I'm treading into some controversial territory, and it's going to be sensitive to some people. I don't mean it to be. It's just it's something that I think needs to be talked about because we hide from too much shit. So the original tweet.
Oh boy.
Kevin Stefanski is the clearest example of what systemic racism actually looks like. It's not people calling you a pejorative. It's those in power systematically blocking your progression. Nothing he did for Shedeur Sanders was the same as what he did for Dillon Gabriel. He called completely different plays and gave him 3s and 4s, far worse than what Dillon and Flacco had. No short routes like he gave Dillon, no max protection like he gave Dillon, no encouragement on the sidelines like he gave Dillon. Shedeur Sanders, keep being great and keep your head up. We all see it. We see what happened. We saw what happened out there at Browns. And Devi Yusuf, aka Fusu, shot back. Dillon Gabriel's not white. All right, let's parse this out a little bit because I want to address the first paragraph, specifically when it says systemic racism is not people using bad language. It's those in power systematically blocking your progression. I 100% wholeheartedly agree. Yeah. But can we pump the brakes on any kind of perception, calling it out that way? Shedeur Sanders is not good enough to be better than the QB3 in Cleveland. I am surprised they traded Kenny Pickett away and didn't cut Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders has been a topic of conversation since ESPN decided to shove him down our throats beginning 2 years ago, and they have not let up. It was the Tim Tebow situation all over again. And you could see, if you really did your homework on what Shedeur Sanders was in Colorado, he was dealing with an offensive coordinator who has NFL experience, who has as an offensive coordinator and as a head coach. And what he created was a system in Colorado for Shedeur Sanders to thrive. And it was a non-NFL system. It was a Shedeur Sanders system. It relied heavily on the things that Shedeur Sanders does well, and that is playing off script and finding Travis Hunter, who was an elite separator and got open as much as Shedeur needed him to. There wasn't a whole lot much more left of that offense. So then we go into the preseason and we go into the draft season, and people are calling Shedeur Sanders a first rounder. And there were people who were debating whether he would go first or Cam Ward. But when you go back and you look at the tape, he did things like hold on to the ball too long, take too many sacks. If he got out of the pocket, he was okay at improvising. But if he stayed in the pocket, he was not going to be a very good quarterback. He didn't bring a whole lot of NFL skills to the table, and he's not very fast. He's not very athletic, right? So one of the things that I kind of took away from his fall in the draft, from being talked about as a top 5 pick to landing in the 5th round behind Dylan Gabriel, among others, was that this OC from Colorado had to be on the phone with as many prospective GMs who were interested in drafting Sanders as possible. And he told them the straight dope. You don't want this guy. That's the reason for his fall. It had nothing to do with the color of his skin. If I want to remind you, the 101 in this entire draft, Mr. Cam Aloysius Ward, happens to be African American. This had nothing to do with racism. This had nothing to do with the color of Shedeur Sanders' skin. This had everything to do with the fact that ESPN pumped the shit out of him for 2 years. Yeah. Deion Sanders, and the media is scared of not being able to kowtow to him and bring him in. Hey, come in and do an interview with us. No, you talk shit about my son. I'm not gonna. They're scared of that.
Yeah.
He's not very good.
No, I think there's definitely some points in there that are 1,000,000% valid. He definitely has some room to grow as a quarterback for sure. I think that I don't think it's necessarily a race thing. I think it's a last name thing, and I think it's kind of to some of the points that you alluded about, prime. I think there's that aspect of it as well. Yeah, like I'm not of the ilk that he should be a starting quarterback. I'm not of the ilk of that. And I think it's always hard to say that all the names that go ahead of players in drafts are always substantially better than said person. So I think, only time will tell with that, with him. But overall, he's an NFL quarterback. I think this is probably the worst situation he could be in. I know Kevin Stefanski has done some good work with some quarterbacks. I would say that he kind of revitalized Baker Mayfield, so I'll give him some credit on that right there. But yeah, man, it's a messy situation, and I think it just puts a lot of people in all corners. It's almost like you have to pick one side or the other, right? You have to pick one side or the other. It can't be just a football thing. And people make it that way, where it has to be about race, or it is about race versus it being about just this guy is a football player. But I think if his last name wasn't Sanders, I do agree with you. I think we would all have a different perspective on the prospect. But I think because his last name is Sanders, and we're okay, he has that DNA, just like we do with any player that comes in the league that has NFL DNA. We're going to give them a significant bump. And I think the one thing he does have going for him, or did have going for him, is just the things that the luxuries that Deion was able to give him playing the quarterback position, the training, the one-on-ones with other players and things of that nature. So I think that's a significant advantage. And I believe there was actually a film earlier on in the college season where it was Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, and they were they were practicing or playing somewhere down in Miami. And Shedeur was trying to give him some crap about being late or whatever, but Cam was talking about how he worked, about how Cam Ward worked and how Shedeur didn't work like that. And I think that was just a clip that kind of stood out to me, just as far as the comparison and contrast of working and working and working. And as you mentioned, Cam Ward is a black dude, man. He's a black dude, and he was the number 1 overall pick. And Shedeur is black, and he's a 5th round pick. So I think it's more about the last name and more about the perception than it is about the reality. That's just kind of my take, man.
Yeah. What you got, Colt?
I agree wholeheartedly with that. The NFL, they get the quarterback position wrong a lot, but I'm not this time, I don't think. I mean, to me, there is a clear distinction in talent and work ethic from Cam Ward to Shedeur Sanders. Like, it's not even close. The thing that I was thinking about when you guys were chiming in was Cleveland. It's week 5. Cleveland is 0-4 because they had just played the Bengals, Ravens, Packers, and Lions. Tough opening schedule. Does Flacco still start week 5, or do they start to look to Shedeur or Gabriel to fill in? What do you guys? Who do you think next man up is?
It looks like it's Gabriel.
Yeah, I was about to say, I can't see them going. I can't see them going to Shedeur. I just can't see it. That would be really bad. I feel like if they went to him that early. I mean, I don't know. I think that's just what it's got to be, man. Because you're not you're gonna see what he's got, but I think you already know, and it's not like it's some kind of 6-round Tom Brady magic that's gonna happen. And I think even with Dillon Gabriel, he's a smaller frame guy, and I think there's a lot of questions about him. I think, his speed is what it is, but I'm just kind of going back and just thinking about, golly, man, just some of the bad quarterbacks that were drafted in the first round, I'm 42, so I'm just going back. The kid from Christian Ponder from the Minnesota Vikings, Blake Bortles, if we want to go down that road, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many bad quarterbacks that have been taken. I think that also plays into the fact of the negative side of things with Shedeur Sanders. Kenny Pickett for the Steelers, right? We've seen so many bad picks. Jamarcus Russell, so many different variations of bad quarterback. Big, strong quarterback, little quarterback, mobile quarterback, no accuracy quarterback, white quarterback, black quarterback, bald quarterback. We've seen a lot of variations of bad quarterback play over the last 20 years.
Yeah. Derek Carr drafted in the 2nd round after Teddy Bridgewater and Blake Bortles. One of my favorite draft stories. Again, I'm sorry I'm bringing up the Raiders, but it's just such a point of reference for me. The Raiders were in, I want to say, the 2nd or 3rd round. Could have been the 4th, and they went and they drafted Connor Cook from Michigan State, and Jerry Jones was absolutely livid because the Raiders traded up to move in front of the Cowboys because they knew that Jerry Jones wanted Connor Cook to be drafted to the Cowboys. So the Raiders did that, and Jerry lost his mind and took Dak Prescott. So
there you go. There you go, man.
So who wins?
Yeah, right. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I do see. One of the things that I know about Dillon Gabriel is that he's an Oregon quarterback. They know what they're doing. They produced Bo Nix and Justin Herbert in the last few draft classes. Dillon Gabriel there's something there. My problem with him is that he's not 6 feet tall, and I don't trust quarterbacks under 6 feet tall. But I did get to see him up close and personal at the Senior Bowl in Mobile. And on the first day of practices, he was there among Jackson Dart was there, and Taylor Elgersma from Canada, Tyler Shuck was there. There were a bunch of quarterbacks there. And on that first day, I'm watching Dillon Gabriel throw the ball, and he had the nicest ball. He threw good balls. It was right in the right where it needed to be. If he was leading a receiver, it was within bent arm range. If it was a back shoulder, he was getting it right on their back shoulder. He had good touch. Everything was pretty intermediate, but it looked really nice. And then day 2, he looked like garbage. I was this is not the guy that I watched yesterday. So there's some inconsistency that's going to happen, especially with him. And then he's short also. But I think you just have to be convinced that the scouting department for Cleveland had a higher grade on Dillon Gabriel. They paid him more money, and we saw some of the stuff that happened with Shedeur at the end of the preseason that is exactly what was the mark against him coming into the league. And I don't see a situation where if they move on from Flacco, Shedeur rises above Gabriel, unless there is some serious growth behind the scenes with the practice squad that we don't get to see over the course of the next 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move it along. We got something going on next Thursday. I forgot what it is. Can you guys think of something that's gonna happen next Thursday?
Real American football.
Yeah.
Oh my
that
God.
thing right there. That thing.
That's
thing.
what it is.
That thing.
Chargers, Chiefs, NFL kickoff Thursday night next week. Undroppables being kind of a sister channel to Fantasy Sports Advice Network. Don't be afraid to go to Fantasy Sports Advice Network, Fantasy Football Advice Network, and check out our Points After Thursday show Thursday night after the game. Me and Greinberg talking about the game and talking football and stuff. That's on FSAN, Fantasy Sports Advice Network. So go to that. All right. Chiefs, obviously, Super Bowl contender. They were at the Super Bowl last year. Chargers, every year they have preseason hype. They're supposed to make the playoffs. Most of the time, they either get knocked out in the first round or they don't actually make it there. There's been some struggle in their wide receiver core. Trey Harris is coming along slowly. They went out and grabbed that one other guy.
Big back old man Keenan Allen.
No, they brought back Keenan Allen also. They did lose Josh Palmer, which Ladd McConkey, we know about Ladd. Their tight end situation consists right now of Higbee,
Will Dissly,
Will Dissly, and then Oronde Gadsden, who I've been super high on for the last 2.5 years. I love Oronde Gadsden.
I think Conklin. I think it's Conklin, Dissly, then Gadsden.
Yes, that's who it is. Yes,
but Conklin and Dissly are very much more effective, like in say a 12 personnel situation, inline tight end with Oronde Gadsden running as a big slot, similar to what the Raiders are going to do with Brock and Michael Mayer. Harold Fannin might kind of get some run that way. Elijah Arroyo up in Seattle might see a similar situation. So at some point in the second half, I can see Oronde Gadsden the second, don't call him junior, turning into like a league winner at tight end. Like if he and Justin Herbert create a connection and Greg Roman decides to throw the ball more than 400 times and Gadsden is at what we think he is, that could be, good in fantasy. But as far as real life, this AFC West is hard to read. The Chiefs, although they made the Super Bowl last year, seem to have fallen off a little bit in some ways, obviously not record-wise. The Broncos seem to be on the up. The Chargers seem to be treading water the way that they always do. And the Raiders are, being pegged to go 5-12. They do have a difficult schedule. They do have the historic deficit in weekly rest versus their opponent, which we saw destroy the 49ers last year. Let's talk AFC West. Do we see the Chiefs? I mean, to be the king, you got to beat the king. Do the Broncos ascend? Are the Chargers going to surprise us week one? Are the Raiders going to come out of nowhere and make the playoffs? With all the offensive changes that they've made, creating a pretty explosive offense with some of their pieces. What is our read? What are you guys thinking for? Let's start with next Thursday. Colt, are you calling the Chargers upset?
I'm calling it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think we're all three in agreement here.
I think Amari and Hampton sees 20-plus touches. They're going to get to control the clock. And the game is being played in Brazil, if I remember right. Okay. So no true home field advantage. Could be a shit field down there.
The Chargers don't
I like the Chargers.
Home field advantage anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Anywhere.
Fanless fan base. I like the Chargers. And I think they can come out week one and make a statement and beat the Chiefs.
Okay.
I think so too. 4 out of the last 5 games with these teams, sorry for the stat, have been 1-score games. But I think too, there's a transition that's going on in Kansas City. And I think Kansas City eventually, like they'll catch their footing for sure. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in that group, they're too good not to have to catch their footing. But we see it every year, man. Like opening week and week one, man, you get a lot of surprises, you get a lot of shocks that
For
happen.
sure.
And I just look at this as a 3-point spread. I'm a spread guy, so I'm taking the Chargers and the points for sure.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think the world is, if they didn't know about Omarion Hampton, they're getting ready to find out about him. And the Kansas City Chiefs are getting ready to find out and get ready to see up close and personal what a real feature back looks like. And Justin Herbert, man, I think he's still underrated for who he is. And I know like Greg Roman's going to run the ball. I think they only ran it. I don't have it in front of me, but this is just what I know. 45%. 45% of the time they ran the ball last year, and he typically operates like in the 50s for that. So I think, like, to your point, I think you're going to see a lot more ball control from the Chargers, a lot of play action, and the Chargers defense is sneaky good, man. I think like they have some really big names, and some of those guys are a little bit older. Your guy Khalil Mack is there, Bud Dupree. Obviously they have Derwin James, right? They have a lot of big names there, a lot of big-time playmakers, and Derwin James has been a headache for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and Travis Kelce as well. So yeah, like give me the bolts in this one, man.
Yeah.
All right, I like it. I do want to shout out my hometown guy Tucker Fisk, Chargers tight end / I guess it would be fullback. We were talking about tight ends. We were talking about Gadsden and Harold Fannin. Jamie says, I hung out with Harold Fannin's mom and uncle. Yeah. At the Expo.
The Expo, yeah.
They were out there at Centennial Park, and we all got to meet him. I got to meet his cousin. I think it was his cousin. It had to be his cousin. It couldn't have been his brother. Dude had played for the Browns 10 years ago, something like that. Absolute monster. If you looked for the biggest guy at the Expo, it wasn't me. It was it was Harold Fannin's cousin, and their family was super sweet, super great. That was an awesome time.
Nice.
All right. So before we wrap up, we're going to do a couple things. Number one, we haven't started yet. There are no games this weekend. There's a lot of college football. There's a huge slate of college football today. There's obviously more tomorrow. But then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there's really nothing. So is there a show or a movie? Like, I want to go see The Naked Gun. Is there a TV show that you guys have been watching that like somebody could binge over the Sunday through Wednesday off time that you guys have seen recently? I've got one in mind. Maybe a movie that you've seen recently that you're going to recommend. Anything?
I just started watching Tires on Netflix. I just started watching that. That's pretty money. So I got that in my bag. And then this morning, I got pretty much like an hour before I go to work after I drop off the kids, hour and some change. And I started watching the Katrina documentary on Netflix.
I watched it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I started watching that. So that's probably what I'll be into over the weekend. Will probably be those two shows.
All right. Colt, is there anything?
I'd like to see the new Jurassic Park movie. And I have been currently rewatching Arrested Development for a while.
Hell yeah. I just blew myself.
Maybe. I can't wait to get my rocks off.
One of the things that I loved about Arrested Development was their last name is Bluth. My last name is Booth. So I always felt a connection there. And there's always money in the banana stand.
Jesus.
So the Naked Gun movie, I don't know if everybody knows this, but it was written and directed by Akiva Schaffer. And I am a huge Lonely Island fan. I was a Lonely Island fan before they got hired as writers on Saturday Night Live. They're from Northern California. They started making Lonely Island videos in LA, but they're from Berkeley. And it's Akiva Schaffer, Jorma Tokinen or something like that, and Andy Samberg. It's a Finnish last name. It's hard to say. And everybody knows Samberg, but the other two guys are kind of behind the scenes, unless you're like a super fan and you've seen Hot Rod and you've seen like Never Stop, Never Stopping and all that stuff. You've seen these guys around. just maybe not in prominent roles as Andy Samberg. So the fact that Akiva Schaffer took this on and basically made it an homage to, you know, his fandom of the original Naked Gun, I'm excited because we've seen some stuff, especially from the Marvel universe, from the Star Wars universe, where when you have somebody who is very skilled at what they do and they're a huge fan, they don't fuck it up. If a studio like throws a project at somebody because they know that that they're going to make money off it and they don't care, a lot of times it really ruins the project. Then you take something like the Barbie movie and you give it to somebody like Greta Gerwig and they absolutely kill it. The Mandalorian series killed it. You know, Peacemaker. There are so many examples of these things where they absolutely pay respect to the original product and make it their own. And I think that he's done that with this Naked Gun movie. And I'm
getting choked up about it. I love it.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see it. I really want to see it really badly. I just don't know if I'm going to find the time. If I do, it'll be like Wednesday. But the last thing is, if you have Apple TV, there's a TV show starring Owen Wilson called Stick. And I'm personally on record as absolutely hating the game of golf. I think it creates land use problems. We want to talk about systemic racism. Let's start talking about golf. I think the people that play golf are arrogant and they think that they're better than everybody else because they play golf, and golf is a stupid game and it sucks and I suck and I hate it. There are myriad reasons why golf makes me sick, and I can't watch it if, you know, there's everybody's, oh, the Masters is on. I'm not going to sit there and watch golf. But I gave this show a shot, and it's Owen Wilson, and he is a former golf pro, PGA guy that has an absolute breakdown, and on the course, on national television, all that stuff. And then he finds himself at some stupid pro club in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and he's like catering to the snobs that are there. One day he's near the driving range. He's on the putting green with this lady, and he hears, and if you play stick sports, if you know golf, if you know baseball, there's a certain sound that things have. And when you hear somebody hit a baseball the right way, you don't have to be looking to know, oh God, he just like put both cheeks into that one. So he hears this thwack of the ball over on the driving range and goes over there, and there's this teenage kid, and he's sitting there, and he can basically hit the ball wherever he wants, how far he wants. He's calling it out. He's like, okay, I'll give you $10 if you hit it 200 yards. Boom, he does it. Then the kid says, double or nothing, I can hit it 320. He says, there's not even a 320 sign. Boom, he hits the shed 320 yards away, and he says, that's 320 yards. So he sees, okay, this is a phenom. He decides to resurrect what he's lost in golf. And his best friend and former caddy is Mark Maron, the comedian, who's just awesome. And so they go out on the road to try and get this kid to like get a PGA card and stuff. And it's really, really good. It has a lot of heart to it. They're not like it's just a very, very good series that as you're watching, like you really start to care about the characters. They do good with the character development, the change in the characters throughout the season. It's awesome. So if you haven't seen Stick, take 4 days, go ahead and binge the show, and I won't talk about the Gilded Age because we don't have enough time. That's not. All right,
I'm gonna check it out.
All right, so we're going to do our top 5, and Jon-o doesn't know this.
No clue. I love this stuff. Go for it.
But we're gonna, and Colt, we're gonna move through this more quickly than last week. I mean, I could talk forever about these things, but let's see, randomizer. So every week, what we're gonna do at the end of the show is we're going to generate a topic, and we're gonna do a top 5. When we start having like Chev on regularly, we're gonna randomize. We're gonna start doing like drafts, like draft order.
Ooh, okay.
And that'll be things that'll be more more tangible. So like we'll do like shoes or stuff like that. We'll draft like Jordan 1s, 101, whatever.
Right.
But when we do top 5, we'll go through these like super quickly. I'm not going to share the screen because when I did that last week, my computer completely crashed. And so our categories this week are burgers, movie villains, movies, cars, fast food restaurants, actresses, TV shows, video games, and sports that aren't the 4 major sports. So like no football, no hockey, no basketball, etc. And let's see what we landed on. Video games. All right. So top 5 video games. We'll do this quicker. So go ahead and give me your top 4 video games, and then we'll all do our top 4. And then at the end, we'll do our favorite one of all time. So just quickly, if whoever wants to start, just what are 4 of your top 5 video games, not your favorite?
The Madden series, obviously.
Okay. How is that not your number 1? Okay, for a football show? All right.
We're just going back and forth, and we just let it rip.
No, just throw out 4. But hang on to your number 1.
I would say any of the WWE wrestling series on Nintendo 64 or WCW. Ooh. So I'll do that.
Okay.
So that's 1.
Yeah.
3 more.
NBA Jam back on Sega.
I'm going to raise you NBA Jam Arcade.
Oh.
Okay.
Sorry,
Thanks.
I'm an old.
I will go Contra series on Nintendo.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm going to start by thinking of the games that were the most obsessive to me, and it's gonna have to be Super Mario Brothers, Dr. Mario, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Skyrim. Those are 4 of my top 5.
Good choices.
I
really enjoyed the GTA series.
I did.
All right, we got Jamie coming in with Road to WrestleMania and Mario Kart so far. So kart's off the table. I think I need a couple more from you guys.
I'm just gonna go ahead and put it out there, man. I'm a big NBA 2K guy, so NBA 2K, I used to get down on that, like for sure. I used to get busy with that. So there's 3 for me.
I got to chime in with Madden too. I haven't had a chance to play NCAA football, but I'm pretty sure that once I start, I'm basically gonna it's all gonna. My life is just gonna dissolve.
I can't even do it. I can't even do it because I know that's what it's gonna result in with that and Madden. I know that's what it's gonna be. I know I can't even do it.
So I'll go for another deep one in Mortal Kombat when it came out.
Oh yes,
it was there.
When it came out from the arcade to the actual Sega system, that was amazing.
Yeah, I remember they had a modifying combo chip. So Mortal Kombat, we were just like we were playing all the time, and then the guy that owned the arcade came in and he put in this different chip, and there were some combos you could do where if you hit it right, the other guy couldn't do anything. You just kept hitting him until he was gone, and that was the best. Jamie adds Skyrim to his list. Took me a couple hours to climb a mountain. Yeah. One of my favorite things about Skyrim was if you go in sneak mode and walk across the map, unlocking the different map areas, you level up your sneak to the point where suddenly you can pickpocket everybody. You're like a total assassin. It's a good hack.
I got one. Call of Duty. I'll just go ahead and go. I'll go with the Call of Duty series.
Okay.
I'll go with that. That'll be my 4 right there.
I'm one generation too early for first-person shooters. I hate them. I hate them. But my kids are pretty. They're pretty competitive, like on the global rankings with the Call of
Wow.
Duty games. They love them. I can't play. I tried the World War II one in the story mode, but
Yes,
it didn't.
it's different. It's different.
All right. Do we have number ones?
Madden.
Madden for
Like, yeah, it's Madden for me. I would spend literally, me and my boys, man, we would play the franchise mode for 2 days straight, getting turned. Like that was it, man. Those are the best times ever for me, man. Franchise mode.
Right on.
I don't think any game has kept me up till 4 a.m. more than Madden.
Yes.
Oh, over the years.
Yes.
I'll say my number one would be Black Ops, the Call of Duty Black Ops with the zombie mode, Keener der Toten. Yeah, I would stay up all night, drink coffee, and play zombies.
Yeah, coffee's pretty tame. My number one is NHL 94. It is the game that I was the most obsessed with. I played it across consoles. I played it like on emulators on my computer. I played it on the original Genesis. My friend got it on Sega CD. We played it together, and we would do other things besides coffee, and just sit there and just play essentially in a blackout mode. Like we'd start it, and then the next thing we know, the sun's coming up, and we're like, holy shit.
Yes.
And I moved in with a woman, and I brought my Genesis with me, and I remember playing the shit out of that game like at that time, and just like playing with the Rangers, playing with Pittsburgh Penguins and Mario Lemieux. It just like that game rocked so hard. And granted, it's 1994 Sega Genesis graphics. This is a lot like who was better, Barry Bonds or Babe Ruth? You kind of can't compare eras, but Sega Genesis NHL 94 was so much better than anything else that was around at the time that it's one of the best games relative to its competitors of all time. You can take Call of Duty and stuff. There's a bunch of games that are like that. It's great and people love it, and it's better than anything else maybe. But it's not as better as NHL 94 was. Like, look at NHL 94 and the playability versus Madden 94. Like, completely different worlds. So anyway, that's my take. And then Jamie finishes his out with GoldenEye 007. That was
a banger. That was a banger.
GameCube. And his number one, I'm calling it your number one, Leisure Suit Larry. Leisure Suit Larry is pretty great. All right. Is that a Corona premiere?
It is.
Nice. I sell those. Not a lot of people buy them, but
trying to be good calorically and health wise, and this is my best version of being bad without being all the way in expo mode. Because there's one thing I learned when I was at the expo. I told you I love the hat. Never trust a guy wearing a pickle slut hat.
Yes,
I hate pickles, bro, but I love you though, man. It's all good, brother.
Zare is in the building. What's up, Zare? How are you doing? Thanks for checking in. We're about to end the show, so hopefully right after we end it, you can go back and watch the recording. Speaking of pickles, Rollin' Smoke in the 907. 907 is the area code for most of Alaska on the peninsula. My guy, Rollin' Smoke in the 907, you can call him at 907-723-5034, or look it up on Facebook as Roll_N Smoke in the 907. What he's doing up near Big Lake in Alaska is he's smoking pickles, he's smoking cheese, he's smoking various meats, and it's all available. He'll ship it to the lower 48, which is how they say it in Alaska. You can get this hat. This hat is Rollin' Smoke in the 907. And he is a sponsor of the show. So if you like pickles, if you have somebody in your life who likes pickles, the 3 in his line he has right now are smoked habanero pickles, smoked jalapeno pickles, and regular smoked pickles.
Wow.
So what you're getting is this smoky brine, especially the habanero ones. I love making martinis with the smoked habanero pickle brine. and just like a super juniper forward gin. Best martinis on the planet. Get yours, and we'll see what happens with this show and that business. Because we got a lot of stuff for you. We hopefully will be 4 deep next week, and moving forward. So we miss Chev. He's a good dude. And is there anything you guys want to say on our way out, like where they can follow you, kind of that kind of thing? Not introduce yourself, but unintroduce yourself.
Oh man,
Unintroductions.
Same name in different spaces. Unintroduction. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on the X. Also, too, me and my brother from another mother, Nick Wilcox, hosting the Fantasy Football Show. We're on every Sunday morning right before kickoff, probably around 10:30. We'll be taking a lot of your questions. We're going over some DFS plays, some picks. And then we also have our waiver wire show as well, which we're looking to move to Monday, potentially this year. Catch us, man. Come through, hang out. We have a good time, and we talk fantasy football. We chop it up, we laugh, we have a good time. So I think, the people that are watching this show, I think you guys would also enjoy our show as well. So
what's the YouTube channel?
The Fantasy Football Show.
Okay, so it's right there. I don't have to make a banner. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Colt?
Follow me, Twitter, Colt_Snody. Check me out with the FF Dynasty boys, too, out of Charleston. I'm working with those guys in affiliation with the Undroppables as well. But yeah, Chev does a lot of work with the FF Dynasty. They do some great stuff. They're dropping a lot of videos, a lot of new content. So give them a follow as well. Check out some of the episodes, and that's all I got.
Is there anywhere we can eat your food yet?
No, still just kicking it, man.
All right.
I'm a free agent.
There you go. Go to Fantasy Sports Advice Network. You can follow me on Twitter at BigBonedFFB, at BigBonedBlueSky, and right here on the Undroppables and Uncovered, Dynasty Pulse, Unhinged. We got irons in the fire. We're cooking. And Jamie, you can find in all the chats across all of the channels and all of the content creators and all that stuff. And until next week, Brock Bowers ate my pizza.